Greetings and welcome to each and every one of you. The beautiful thing about Global Chamber is that we have people chiming in from all around the globe live, and we have many more that listen to replay. So today you are in the right place if you are here at our Global Chamber author series. It happens on the third Wednesday of every month at 11 o'clock Eastern time. We will have some times where it'll be 8 o'clock in the morning because we want to try to consider some of our other colleagues across the globe, such as Shanker Damodaran, who is in India, and he's on with us now. And I believe what time is it there, Shanker?
It's 8:30 p.m. 8:30
Oh,
p.m.
that's not bad. But it was midnight. Okay, we're good. Awesome. Awesome. So welcome. Some of you have joined us in the past. And some of you, this is your first time. So we'd like to welcome you. And what we do is we go through an introduction of who we are as Global Chamber Author Series. And then we talk a little bit about Global Chamber because this might be your first time joining us. And we'll let you know what that network looks like. And then we introduce our speakers. We have two speakers that are incredible today who are authors, and they're phenomenal in their own right. And I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge that this is International Women's Month. So we're delighted to have a woman on the panel and a gentleman who supports women in every fashion of the way. So go ahead and feel free to put your name and what city you are hailing from in the chat. And if you would, put how we can contact you, how we can connect with you. Okay. So with our Global Chamber Author Series, we host a Globinar once a month, the third Wednesday. And what our goal is to engage with authors. The Global Chamber Author Series, it is a vibrant group. You can see that if you've been in it before or for the first time today. Community writers worldwide, where we connect, we share our diverse experiences and inspire through books, workshops, collaborations, projects, and leadership initiatives. And what we're hoping to come out of this today and this year is that we will have more collaborations, more authors working together, anthologies that are being placed together. So know that this is a place where you can make those type of connections and engage. My name is Dr. Dana Austin, and I head up the Global Chamber Author Series, but I also am the executive director for Global Chamber Atlanta, or as we like to say, Hotlanta. My background as a healthcare professional has been working in research, helping to develop drugs and devices. I am a multi-published author. One thing I enjoy doing in addition to that is being a writer's coach, helping you birth your story, helping bring it to life. And we do it in 90 days in our 90 Days to Manuscript Masterclass. We host that twice a year. We're finishing up next week, our first cohort, start the next one August, and finish in October. So if you're interested, reach out and let us know. And our organization is a nonprofit, so we support youth at risk as well. This program was actually begun 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago, by one of our global chamber leaders, Gloria Peterson. And I'm hoping that she will join us too, but she's phenomenal. And she's done such a fabulous job identifying and helping to curate well over 100 authors within Global Chamber membership. Who are we as Global Chamber? We are the first and only Global Chamber of Commerce located in hundreds of metros, but particularly 525 and growing around the globe. What does that mean? That means most likely for each city that's represented on the line today, we have a metro with a footprint and a person right there that you can connect with and engage. What's our mission? We are here to help accelerate cross-border trade. We need it more now than ever, and invest in every region of the world. We engage top executives and leaders, and we do that with what we call our soft introductions. We make those introductions once we know as members that you want to engage and grow your business. This is something that is done seamlessly, it seems, but it is a lot of effort that goes behind it. And our vision is a business world where it is easy growing regions across region as it is doing business across the street. Now that's a mouthful. And you're going, oh, that's a lot. But I'm going to say, but wait, There's more. We have the blessings to be housed in Thunderbird School of Global Management in Phoenix, Arizona. So not only we are a global organization, we are attached to a global school of business management. And we also have access to their 30 locations around the globe. So if you can imagine, if you're good at math and you're adding, you're like, wait a minute, 525 and 30. Yes. So it's a matter of knowing what you have access to with Global Chamber and then taking advantage of it, making good use of it. And the word I like to use is engaging. So we meet the third Wednesday of every month. And I love Stephen Covey because the quote that says, start with the end in mind. What is the goal that we're wanting to accomplish with the Global Chamber Author Series? One is to really engage authors, create a community where you can come and have exchanges and learn information, increase our visibility, improve on technology, integrate technology and innovation, and also improve upon our leadership skills as authors. We'll do that by looking at our metrics and how many books come out in the year or how many books are being birthed in 2025. So this is just where we are. We have a schedule and our speakers today, I'll introduce them. We also have room for more authors to be featured in the coming months. So reach out to myself, to Shanker, to Gloria Peterson, Alex Devereaux. These are names that are part of our core team, and Christina Watcher, if you're interested. Now, here today, I'm excited. If you're not excited about what you're doing, then I'm going to beg you to reevaluate what you're doing. So I'm excited about today to introduce you to our Global Chamber authors. One of them, they may be very familiar with you because he is the executive director in India of Ahmedabad. I always stumble on this word. Ahmedabad? Yes.
It's easy to say Ahmedabad. That's the local
Ahmedabad.
name. Yeah.
Ahmedabad. And
Yeah.
it's not like it sounds different than it's spelled, Ahmedabad. And he also is the director for a new magazine that is being released. And he's the director of the presidential magazine. This is Shanker Damodaran. Shanker is going to be the first of our authors to come and speak. And then after he does and answers questions and engage, then we're going to introduce our next speaker. And she's going to be coming from the West Coast. So you can see that we're already spanning thousands of miles to bring you this incredible content today. So welcome, Shanker. If you would do your introduction. And of course, I've got questions.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dana. It's always such a pleasure. When you introduce the Global Chamber, I suddenly get present to what we are standing in front of. I've always been there, but sometimes one doesn't seem to see the enormous potential Global Chamber is. It's just last night that we spoke about many things possible in Ahmedabad, in Gujarat, what we could be doing, and how
Yes.
Atlanta and Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar could work in conjunction to bring foreign direct investment. Why I say that is because foreign direct investment and bilateral trade has always been my passion. It's just that I didn't realize it when I started. So I want to go back to when I started. Uh, just after college, I started, being part of a travel business where I would get foreign tourists, special interest groups, and take them to places of interest for them. And while listening to them and while they talked, I realized they are here for doing some expansion of their businesses. And I would get a privy to their discussions, and I understood they're looking at many aspects of what they have come to India for. And nonchalantly, I would give them ideas like where you need to register your business and where you need to go find talent and
Mhm.
how you could be doing and masterfully crafting language that will be localized for others to understand what you're here for, or for that matter, land, or that for that matter, office spaces. More than anything else, how to register a simple company in India. I have done it
Mhm.
all these years. And I came to write a magazine that I introduced in Gujarat called Gujarat Now. You see, in Gujarat, we have things like the Vibrant Gujarat. Vibrant Gujarat, for your knowledge, is something like Select USA for India. It's humongous. It's a great platform where 100 nations come, and the prime minister comes, and presidents and executive, the state secretaries come, and all that. And there is great business transactions taking place. They create a buzz, they create a brand. And my magazine has been distributed in the Gold Pass invitees for them to take home, because these are vital informations they would want to check once in a while. But from there on, I always thought there must be something better that I can actually put all these years of recorded, unrecorded history, how to go about and put it in a book. And that's where I brought this book of the survival in the new economy as a workbook, not just as a book to read and leave it, but something that you can use. And at the end of each chapter, I put some questions so that the readers will be able to engage, like you say. The moment you engage, the digestion of what you learn is 10x, it's multiplied. So I put that book in a way that you can find out which is the channel through which you can enter India. Is it the diplomatic channel? Is it the chambers? Or is it the government? What works best in your interest, depending on the kind of investments you bring? Where can you find talent? Where can you find office spaces in metro cities? And the list goes on, and that's a comprehensive book that I put together. And this book is
You know
not
what?
just, yes.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Now, this book is not just a book, because what is going to be advanced is into bringing 4 or 5 officials who are experts in that specific field. So it becomes something that people understand how to get into India, what are the subtle nuances, where to go. But if you want a deeper dive, then you can have access to somebody on the book, on the website, and seek an appointment and go forward. So this becomes like a workshop, come book reading, come engaging a consultant. So that's where we are. That's what the book is about.
Well, Shanker, you have been a consummate connector, is what I would call you. And he definitely make the connections in India, but he's just well known about making it around the globe. Just recently, I was on a meeting that you have put together with some colleagues, Global Chamber in Mumbai, Brazil, Spain, Atlanta, and maybe another country represented. And really, it's about doing business and accelerating so that we can be successful in making the connections. So whenever I think about global and international, I also think about languages. And we have an expert on whose business is about translating in a professional manner, whatever your product is. I'm going to have him speak towards the end because he's one of our Global Chamber members, but we would be remiss if we didn't make that connection to let you know that whatever you have as a product, if it needs to be translated, a magazine or book, we've got a professional right here in the room. And he'll be one of our speakers in the coming weeks to months. All right. So, Shanker, if you would share the cover of your guide, because I tried to upload it in my limited time and I didn't have the opportunity to. So I want people to see it, and then how can they access it? And I do have some questions. All
Yeah,
right. So
let me just do that.
while you're pulling that out, let me just proceed with the first question. So you were telling us how you were inspired by collecting all of the experiences in your business arena over the years to move forward to compile this beautiful work, this magazine. And so give us the title again, and then who is your target audience? Just like I want you to spell that out, just in case they may have missed something that you said. It will not be missed in this second share. So give us the title of the guide, and then
Yeah,
who is your target audience?
sure. See,
Survival guide?
it's called Survival Guide for the New World Market Environment. I just put it in.
Yes. Thank you. So Survivor Guide for the New World Market and Environment. I have it here, but I doubt if you can see it. So he put it in the chat. and it focuses on the Indian market. But one of the things that came up during one of our Globinars this week is while you might be focusing on the market in your country, which makes sense, you also think about who your clients are, where they will be coming from, and it may behoove you to have contacts in that particular country. So yesterday I was on the Globinar for Africa with Ethiopia leading out. Miss Ruby was on as one of the leaders for Global Chamber Ghana, Accra, and one of our Global Chamber members had mentioned he does a lot of business for countries overseas, but he's the contact in the United States to help make that happen. I think it was Eric that made that comment. All right, so here's my next question for you. Thank you for sharing that. Is what has been your process? Because writing a magazine is uniquely different than writing a book or writing a screenplay, right? But what has
Yeah.
been your process in writing and compiling this magazine? Because I'm sure we have some people in this group that said, I never thought about doing a magazine. Maybe I need to consider that for my organization. Maybe I should consider that for this community network that I'm in. So what was your process of writing and gathering and researching and collecting your information? I know you shared your experience was one of those components.
So we're not talking about the book, we're talking about the magazine, right?
Yes. Well, the book too, because you've got two things going on. So which one we can focus on the guide here, the survival guide.
Okay, see, the guide is a very simple thing. It's from my experiences, what I had been collecting and informing. I just put into words what I would do to the international audience that I was facilitating. But I wanted to make a generic. It's mentioned it is India market, but 70% of that can be applied to any market in the world. There's a standard set of things that one needs to do to enter any market.
Mhm.
So this is what the book is. Now, if you're talking about the magazine is something that I've always done to publish the Gujarat Now, but
Mhm.
I'm part of something called the United States Presidential Service Center, which is the founder is Marty Mangello. He has been the chef for 6 United States presidents. Now, he's like a polymath. He does chefing, he writes books, he has his own magazine. He has got something called the Presence Network, which is there in 12 OTT channels. And his group already is in Hollywood, making movies, Hollywood movies. So he and I got into speaking with and finding out what could be the coolest thing to do because he said, you take 60% of the magazine because I see the passion in you to cross-pollinate, to bring international ideas, concepts, innovations together because he has got the reach. He said, you curate the magazine. So I just started curating the presidential magazine, which is basically on the cover, you see Paul Brandis. Paul Brandis is the White House reporter, top reporter with 1 million followers. So the idea being when you put whatever that is passionate, we call it the presidential. Why? Because it's mostly stories about presidents in their interesting endeavors. For example, Marty might put a story about what Clinton liked for breakfast because he's a chef and he has worked for the president. He might write about Obama's favorite dessert and things like that. But it's
Mhm.
kind of like a culinary diplomacy. So it is with food in the background that you can really create great lasting relationships on a global scale or on a small business scale. So he doesn't limit to that. He has given me full freedom to put anything that I think can be cross-bordered. In the sense, if there is a restaurant here that wants to enter the United States, yes, that's possible. If you think you've got a recruiting company in London, yes, that's going with the foundational principles of FDI and bilateral trade. You want to start a fashion business globally online and reach it to certain target audience in the next country, in the next city, using geofencing, we can do that. So I've just started it. But to begin with, I also got Doug Brunke, our founder, to write about global is good. It is so much aligned to what presidential is doing and what we are doing. And I think this is kind of a layer that can help all of us within our endeavors to put what we want into the magazine. So there are three things. One is one could write an outstanding story. I wrote a story about a man who climbed the Mount Everest because
Mhm.
we really feel we are not unstoppable. It goes with our philosophy, and we can go and face any challenge and reach the point where we want to. And this man is an officer and a gentleman. His name is Atul Karwal, and he put this idea together, and I took it. There's another gentleman, his name is Harold D'Souza. He was a victim of human trafficking, and he reached the United States because some agent got him into that whole process, and he had to pay through his everything for 18 months, and he was under control. But today, he is the United Nations ambassador for human trafficking. So he propels that idea.
Mm,
So I said, you must write about it. The world should come to know why it is so important to go by the books, go by the rules. Don't try to, go here and there, which is what the current economy also says. And I thought that's a good thing to do. I also
absolutely.
like, yeah,
I know that you have such a wealth of knowledge and connections, but in the limited time that we have, I'm going to have to keep it focused so that we
sure.
can make sure we give you ample time and our next guest author ample time. And I also want to have introduce Philip in between because he's going
Yeah.
to be having to drop off a little early. So let me ask you one other question. And if you all have questions for any of our panel, please place them in the chat or we'll give you an opportunity where we can unmute yourselves and you can ask directly. But if you place it in the chat, then I could keep an eye out on it. Jim will keep an eye on it and we'll just be sure to try to acknowledge you. So that's incredible because, as you were saying, Shanker, one of the focus with the presidential magazine, which it sounds like a real good compliment to your book for this survival guide, is bringing issues to the forefront and making meaningful connections in the business industry, raising awareness about social issues, human trafficking, create and bringing people together around food. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a huge foodie. Okay, let me just put that out there. I'm also a self-taught chef. I just don't brag about that a lot because, well, people be asking for recipes and I don't have them. I just create. So being a polymath is someone who has expertise in many fields. So, and you mentioned the chef, your name is Marty, M-A-R-D-I, that who was the chef for
Marty
six presidents.
Mangiolo, and Dana, I would love to introduce you for a dialogue with him, and it'll be great, exceptional cross exchange of ideas and thoughts. We'll do it one of these
Absolutely.
days. Thank you.
Please make that happen. And I think a recipe exchange from him would be in order. Yes.
Wonderful,
And
wonderful.
Dr. Christina out in the West Coast, she says, wonderful, such important work, Shanker. She's also one of our Global Chamber authors. If you're not already connected with these people, please, this is why we're here. They're putting their contacts in LinkedIn. Click on it. Make sure you connect. Make sure you connect and make something happen after this call. So one of the question for you, Shanker, before I have to move on, what has been some of the greatest challenges for you in your writing journey? And before you answer, let me just speak as a writer's coach, okay? Let me come to you from that perspective first. So as a writer's coach, our job, our responsibility, our honor is to be able to hold your dream in our hands and help you to develop it and bring life to it. That's how I see my role as a coach. Now, anytime if anyone has heard about the birthing process or growing a being inside your body, it there's a lot of adjustments that take place. And in the writing process, I liken it to being pregnant and giving birth. Okay. So at first, there's a lot of excitement when you find out that you're pregnant, right? Or somebody that you know is pregnant. Oh, you're going to be a mother. You're going to be a father. Yes. And then the mother starts growing. And if you all can relate, any women, just raise your hand or do a little high five. And then you start being concerned of how things look, right? We look concerned about the exterior. How do I look? Do I look bad? How does my book look? Now this is an analogy, so please put it together. And then you don't even know, will this baby like me? Will I like the baby? We're talking about the book again, right? And then when the baby in the book is born, you're like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I didn't know I could love something so much. Now you will love your baby. You will love your book. But the goal here is also to write with others in mind, write with your audience in mind. Am I correct? So my question to you now, after I have laid that foundation, is what has been some of the greatest challenges in your journey in writing this book?
Dana, I want to acknowledge one thing what you mentioned, that have the end in mind. And once you have that, my own line that I always followed by Goethe, a German author, he says, if you dream of doing something, begin it. For boldness has got magic power and genius in it. And it's not just for the book that I do. I do for almost anything that I can lay my hands on, that I do
Mhm.
what my limited intelligence doesn't think of doing. I step into a domain which is not so easy, and I like to see the outcome. I like to surprise myself many times. But having said all that, the biggest challenge that I found is in getting started.
Yes,
And and thanks to the fact that I was pregnant too, like what you say, it's just that I
yes,
was pregnant here in my
yes.
here.
In your
I
mind,
had
yes,
all these years I have honed, and I was telling people doing business across the world need not be a difficult situation, until really Doug came and said it's as easy. But he didn't just say it, he proved it by creating all these exceptional people around the world. And when I spoke to them, I got present to the fact, yes, you can be from any part of the world, but you can be friends, you can have fun, you can learn from each other and make money. So I found this whole ecosystem that I started off, and I thought, let me just begin it. And begin it means just write anything that came to me. It didn't have to be from the book even, because I believe that when you start writing, something in the brain starts connecting the disconnected dots.
yes,
Then editing comes. So it's not so much you plan like a business strategist. It's more like you shoot and then aim. That's my
Mm.
philosophy. Yeah.
I
So
like that. That's what my shooting would be, even if I could see well. So it would be shoot and then aim. Thank you for that, Shanker.
thank you.
We only wish that more time was on our side, but it gives us more opportunities to for future Globinars. I'm going to interject and take questions from the audience for you, and then I'll introduce Philip. Okay? So
Yeah.
please raise any questions. I've seen comments acknowledging the wonderful work that you're doing, Shankar, and I echo that as well. But if you have any questions for him, please go ahead and raise those or unmute yourself.
Dana, I just wanted to add one thing,
Sure.
because I just thought, since we're talking about writing and we're talking about how to, my magazine is open for all the listeners who echo the principle of presidential. They can be writers, which are exceptional writing, topics. The second can be advertorial. It can be anybody that you can craft a language to promote as a marketing piece for a price, and it is not expensive. And that you can have advertisement, quarter page, half page, and all that. But that's just the
Yes.
beginning. Later on, we can get into what I mentioned as OTT and marketing consulting, because it's all integrated together. Currently,
Hmm.
I just want to say that there's an India group in food that wants to reach the Walmart shelves, and he
Hmm.
would begin by just putting an ad in the magazine. And once we understand, like what we say, it's important to begin somewhere, then we can get all the expertise from the Evangelo associates to put it, because he's a chef, he's got control over the Walmarts and various other groups. He even told me that if you got a food factory that you want to bring into the United States, because looking at all the tax and tariff wars and everything, it is much better simply to manufacture in the US. And there are enough groups who might be exporters who might want to start their businesses and set it up in the US. So there I
Mm.
end, but I welcome all of you to write something, and we can be in touch. And this is just the start, the way we started the Authors Network. Thank you.
Shankar, share with us the millions of people that this magazine reach. I think numbers are important. How many millions of people does this magazine reach? If you can share that with us in 30 seconds or less. And then Miss Ruby Golo will be the next with the question.
Yeah, it reaches 12 million people.
Did you say 12 million?
Yes. Wow.
So listen, guys, I don't know if you realize that for a small investment for your business, the
Yeah.
magnitude of the reach is incredible. So that's just something that we want you to know you have access to with the Presidential Magazine, and also Shanker's book. And he's going to share in the chat. I think he's already shared the link for the book there. Ms. Ruby, go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you very much. And Shankar, thanks so much for sharing your experience. I'm so inspired. I'm very keen to write my first book this year. And I've been thinking of what area to write or topic, etc. But having listened to you, it looks like we do have similar background. I used to work with the British Embassy in Ghana for 17 years. I've helped many UK companies expand into Ghana. And based on those experiences, I have written a couple of articles which were published in the Business and Financial Times in Ghana. So I'm just
Mhm.
wondering, would you think that I should probably start with a magazine using the materials, the articles that I've previously written, or is it okay to use those points in my articles to write a book? I just want ideas and how
Is
best to go about things. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. As long as it is something connected with bilateral trade and FDI, or small businesses, or any success stories of Ghana, something that's inspiring, innovative, that would be fine. And all I'm saying is 750 words to 1250 with some great pictures. This is the initial magazine coming out. We want to establish some good relationships and explore many possibilities of really doing business. While we do our connections around the world, we are also trying to find out how we can all co-create something unique and profitable, like a win-win. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, the what insight. You mind if I add to that as well, Miss Ruby
Yes,
and Shankar?
please. Yes.
And well, let me ask it in the form of a question. So, Shankar, how often is your magazine coming out?
The magazine is set to come out, the first one, March 25th is the cutoff date. So please send whatever that you want, from advertisements to advertorials to articles. Once that is launched, it'll be every 3 months.
Okay,
But
so
remember
that was
one
my
thing.
question. Mhm.
Yes, remember one thing. This magazine actually is articulated like an ask. It's a request-based magazine. If you told the magazine, I want to reach my articles, especially in this particular place, as a advertisement in Washington district only, we can set it up. So the magazine has got great reach, but having said that, it has to make sense to the writers or the advertisers. So it is done with the latest of technologies, the geofencing and the targeted audience and the data analytics, that we do it very much from the point of view of what you want to, how do you want to reach out, the message, and whom it should reach. So it is analyzed and reached. So it is not just the numbers. The numbers are like OTT channels at 12 million. All of that is going to reach if you put an ad. But we want to make
Okay.
sure. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, thank you for that. So the point of me asking that question is, I think it would help guide you too, Ms. Ruby, is if you lean towards a magazine, it's going to be something that you have to produce on a regular basis. And we put out a newsletter for our writers community, for Transformational Writers Academy, and we put it out every 2 weeks. And we're always seeking content and we're seeking relevance. And it's something that we have to consistently do. So if that's something that you and your team are up for, I'm sure Shanker would be in agreement. Go for it. Add
Yeah.
value and so forth. Otherwise, if you at least get a book out, okay, you have something that's static and it's there. And it's, of course, as times change, you may have a sequel to the book or updates to the book, a revision. But I would suggest, because I know you've been talking about this for a little while, get your book out. Just get it out because now you're the subject matter expert with all of the knowledge that you have had working for the embassy, working and helping businesses expand, doing so many incredible things in Ghana and abroad. So I would suggest not to exclude the possibilities of a magazine, but just know that you're going to have to continuous come out with content, get sponsors, and so forth. A book is kind of like a one and done, you know.
So
All
Dana,
right.
I just wanted to say that my book is going to be advertised in the magazine, and
Yes.
so is Paul Brandis' book that he wrote about Jackie Onassis, the story
Really?
that is
Yes.
never told. And there are many such authors whose books will be advertised for maximum reach. So we can consider a way to take that forward through the magazine if you think.
Okay, that's another plug there. I'm going to place my new book coming out on April 27th in your magazine as well. If we're reaching
Thank
12
you.
million
That would be
people,
wonderful.
yes.
That's a great start.
Okay, listen, I think there's maybe one more question and then we had to introduce our next speaker. So let me just double check here. Uh, Found you on LO. Okay. Okay, great. Our next, it's not our speaker, but I'm inviting him to come forth because A, he's going to be one of our featured authors for Global Chamber, and B, he's an incredible Global Chamber member and has been for years. He can tell you about himself and his services on translations because we have many languages and nationalities represented here too. Philip Auerbach, which, sir, I'm going to call you Sir Philip Auerbach because when you speak, that's the presence you bring me into. If you would tell us who you are, what you do, and what impact you have made across this globe with your business services.
Well, thank you so much, Dana. That's very kind. So hello, everyone. My name is Philip Auerbach, and my company conveniently is called Auerbach International. Very quickly, without looking higher in the chat, I'd like everyone to put in the chat what percentage of the world do you think speaks English, either as a first language, a native language, as in the United States, or a secondary language, as in India and the Philippines? Very quickly, just write in the chat what percentage of the world speaks English.
Wow, Marissa and I are on the same number. And then I think it was John says 70%.
Okay, so very good guesses, except that everyone is very much in the wrong direction. So the actual percentage of the people in the world who speak English as a first or second language is 17%. So that means that around 70% of the people in the world do not speak English. And if you are writing your book in English, which of course is an enormous audience, no question, but you're missing the vast majority of the world to which you can make an impact. So my company is almost 35 years old, and we translate any kind of content, whether it's magazines or books or videos, websites, anything, social media, into 120 languages with accuracy and precision. And I need to emphasize the words accuracy and precision, because if you use AI solutions alone, they will not be accurate. They will make mistakes. And I'd like to give you a very quick example of that. We translated a book into Spanish for an American author who's considered the world's #1 branding expert. And at the end of his introduction, he had a line in English that said, "Are you ready to rock and roll?" And AI translated it into Spanish as, "Eres listo para el rock and roll?" Literally, "Are you ready to rock and roll?" Except in Spanish, there is no term rock and roll. It makes no sense. So the human professional linguist had to revise that to what the expression means, which is, "Are you ready to get started? Are you ready to plunge in?" And so forth. So if you translate books, they must be done correctly. Again, if you want them done with accuracy. If you don't care about accuracy, then don't bother. But if you want them done with accuracy and precision, they must be done primarily with human professional linguists who speak your subject terminology, who have over 10 years experience, ongoing experience as professional translators, and who speak your native language, as well as, of course, what's called the target language, the language it's going into. So that's what we provide for people. We've done quite a few books already that are on our website. You can see them. And let me end there and ask if there are any quick questions.
Well, I have a comment question, and I'm also aware that you translate websites,
Yes,
correct? So,
websites,
uh,
videos, social media, anything.
what is the most spoken language in the world? The number one.
It's Chinese, and then Spanish, and then English.
Okay. You know, as an English speaker, as my primary language, we want to think that our language is number one everywhere.
Right.
But I know that's faulty thinking. And I've also been taught by the Spanish, I speak Spanish, that Spanish is the language of heaven, so you have to learn it. But Chinese, that's interesting. All right, so if we want your book to reach the masses in a language that is their primary language, Auerbach International, and Philip will post his link in LinkedIn in the chat room. And if you want to reach 12 million people in a span for the magazine, Shanker's Magazine Presidential is a space to go. Thank you so much. Phil, any questions for him? If you want to unmute yourself, let's do that before we move on to our next guest
And my
speaker.
information is already in the chat at the top of the chat list.
Yeah. Could you mind posting it again? Just because we want it to be right there where they can within reach.
Okay. Sure.
Thank you so much. All right. Any questions for Philip? Thank you so much. He's going to be one of our future authors speaking to you soon. So follow us on our globalchamber.org website. All right. If you guys are ready for our next speaker, I'm going to need some engagement. So the engagement is not just you put it in the chat, but just throw some confetti or raise your hand, use some of the reactions right there in Zoom if you're ready to hear from our next incredible guest speaker. Yes, thank you, Dr. Christina. Okay, I'm not seeing confetti yet. Hands raised. They're not ready yet, Shilpi. You gotta wait until the audience, the students are ready. Sharon's ready. I see you, Sharon. And some of you are looking for that reaction button. You're going, well, where is it, right? Well, we are going to introduce our next speaker, who is an incredible businesswoman, an inspiration. She's an inspiration to me and a friend and colleague. Okay. So our next speaker is none other than Dr. Shilpi Chanda. She is the CEO and founder of Shilpi Chanda International. She is a health coach. She is a mind coach. She is an inspiration, and she's an author. And her book, as she contributing author to an anthology called Landed for Success. And I would like to introduce you to Shilpi and have her tell a little bit more about herself. And then we will take it from there with our questions. Welcome, Dr. Shilpi.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you
Yes.
quite well.
Thank you so much. First of all, I actually really like the space here. It's always filled with so much of insight and so much of fun. And you make it so much fun, Dana. Absolute fun when I'm in the room. Um, to talk about me, my name is Shilpi Chanda. I don't associate me being Shilpi Chanda because I feel I am a soul more than a human right now. Um, so I'm a certified life and wellness coach, a best-selling author through Leonard for Success. I'm an international public speaker, a certified mentor. I amalgamate different dimensions of life, as we know, the physical, emotional, intellectual, and others. And with help of self-love, self-care, and mindful transformation, I bring in clarity, confidence, positivity. You could say a holistic wellness and a sense of balanced, happy, successful life. I'm also a certified business mentor. I strategize with the CEOs of the companies to give them the creative insight what they can do with their websites, with what they can do with their organization or events as such. I'm also a certified yoga teacher and also a certified dance teacher. So these are the things that I do. Coming to the writing part, it has been a beautiful journey. Uh, I was always a spiritual person, but there was a time when I really realized that the sage really resided in me. The awareness always begins within. So came Land of Success, and I was part of the anthology, which was the best-selling, where my chapter was The Sage and Me. And I couldn't stop myself. Writing was so special to me. Then I wrote another in chapter in the next volume, which was making the dream a reality. But doing all these was kind of sharing my insight, but I wanted to bring a lot of improvement in other people's life, and I started writing small ebooks which would help individuals to find their purpose. So I started writing ebooks which was find your true purpose, learn to put your vision into action. These are ebooks which have activities included in it. There is a lot of activity because people always say, okay, purpose, I am doing a lot, but what about purpose? Like, how do I find my purpose? How do I find my vision? So these workbooks, activity books help you to guide through. It's like so simple. It's like, oh, okay, read it and do it, read it and do it, and you will find yourself getting a beautiful masterpiece, a vision board for yourself, a vision statement with the ebook. And then because with so much of speaking, I realized there was so much of need for the youngsters, for the beginners to understand how to do public speaking. So I did write on public speaking mastery. So these are the things that I really wanted to involve, and more is coming. I am developing another one, which I would say was kind of divine intervention for me. It was like I started fasting and I went for months doing fasting, and I kind of developed eating less and contemplating more, meditating more. And this book actually came into me. It was not like I was finding it, but it came into me, and I'm in the process of writing it. I don't force myself, but one of the purpose for my writing is to invoke a sense of awareness that everything that you, whatever you want to do, resides in you. You are the power, and you got to do, what you believe in. You have to become the person that you want to be. There is no one else coming to help you. The person who's going to help you is yourself, and it comes through awareness. All my writing, all my work is on inspiring others. You could say it's purpose of my life, and I connect with Dana so much because she is like a light, and she does kind of does the same kind of thing. Like, she always inspires people. Like, she encourages authors to write. If you're a writer, then you should join her writing club and do some writing, because I think the writing not only has given me a chance to share what I believe and awareness and all that, but it also has given me kind of a proof that, okay, Shilpi knows this and she can be a speaker, she can share her info, she can share her insights. So it's kind of a certificate in itself, even though I did more than 500 plus events as a speaker, as a facilitator, as a like workshop, so many events. But the one thing that book has given me is assurance to other people that, what, listening to Shilpi is not a waste of time. So
Yes.
when you have a book, it is kind of like a certificate for others to see. It's not a certificate for yourself because you know who you are, but other people need to see. How will they believe that you are the one who can make a difference? So when you are showing the book, it is kind of like a giving them the assurance they need and trust, the credibility, the visibility. And I think book has helped me so much. Now I get speaking engagements. People call me for workshops, for speaking, because they know that, okay, she's a published best-selling author. So
Mhm.
in
So,
short, I'm not going to take much time, but I feel like if you are in a place where you think that you need to write, one of the challenges that I feel that I want to share is like you just feel like you are not consistent. I think consistency is the key to writing a book. So it has to
mhm.
be on your calendar, like, okay, 30 minutes in a day, I'm going to write. You decide the time, you decide the date, you decide, but it has to be in your calendar because everyone has different process. I think Dana could share more light to it. But for me, I think if you are one person, you are thinking like there is something, there is some clarity, there is something there you want to talk about, you want to share your ideas. I always give a discovery call, 10 minutes. I keep it a very quick discovery call. If you want to connect with me, I'm going to share my link through which you can connect me via any like Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever is comfortable for you. And you want to connect with me, like talk to me like a friend, a guide, a coach, whatever you say. Uh, just 10 minutes. It's free. You can talk to me anytime you want.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, and
I'm gonna interject right here, Shilpi, because you shared a lot, and I can see the light bulbs going off in the room. They're going, "Oh my gosh, he coaches on this. She's a life coach. She's a business coach. She does yoga. She does this, and she's written. She's been a part of 2 best-selling books, anthologies, and she's written ebooks. So when you give a lot of information, we want to give them an opportunity to digest it and also to regurgitate. So I'm going to breathe for them with you. And I dropped the mic because you're exceptional. I dropped the mic on the screen because you're exceptional. I'm going to back up to some of the things you shared, and you're a polymath as well, expertise in many fields. Uh, you talked about writing. One of the challenges is consistency. And so, since we're talking about the writing process today, being consistent is important, as you mentioned. Placing your writing on your calendar is important. Also, making you a priority is important because if you've been gifted with these skill sets, I'm talking to the audience because you're sharing this, I'm just regurgitating, then you have a responsibility to finish it and to connect with those who could help you move to the end of your journey successfully to birth the book that's in you. Um, so I want to ask you a couple of questions about, and you mentioned that you like to get a sense of where people are. You do a discovery call, but you also talked about a few things. Like you mentioned the young people looking for a purpose. That's what I wanted to touch base on. Just young people looking for a purpose. I think where we are in our society today, people are having to rethink their next move, rethink their next career, rethink their business, their next or a first time business. So, how do you, as a coach and best-selling author, and an incredible dancer, if you haven't seen her moves online, she will share them with you. How do you help those to find and solidify their purpose? If you can just share that with us in like a 2-minute time frame, because we got to give some time for people to ask questions of you.
absolutely, I'll keep it very short. Um, Honestly, when finding purpose, it's a method that you have to follow. The basic comes from your interest, and of course, the values, the experiences, and these are exercises that you do. It's not like a verbal thing I say and you just think about, because when it is on paper, then you actually understand things better. I write, I just say from far, you'll guess, okay, she said apple. But if I draw an apple and write an apple, you are certain, okay, she's saying an apple, it looks like an apple, it's written an apple, I'm sure. So
Mhm.
for finding a purpose, first you have to find your values. because sometimes we are unhappy because we are doing things which doesn't align with our values. Finding your core values is very important, then finding your interest, and also when you are doing it, there are various things to consider. Among them are, one of the things are, what are the things that is also going to give you satisfaction, monetary, like financial, career wise. Are you looking for fame, or are you just looking for doing things that you're just doing for yourself? I don't want fame. So
Mm,
some people say, I want fame, but I want wealth. Some people say, wealth doesn't matter, I want fame. Some say, oh, so it depends on what you want. But the first thing first is your value. Like, you have to
mhm.
find your value. Only then
Oh,
you can find your purpose.
oh, that is so powerful. So find your value, but and look at what interests you and look at your experiences. And then, what that value would it add to you in doing that? Will it bring you joy? There's one of my favorite authors and financial gurus, Susie Orman. She always says this whenever you're considering, she ties it to a purchase, but I apply it to life. Is it kind? Does it also bring you joy? And is it necessary? And if the answer is yes to all three of those questions, then move forward in that journey. Move forward. It does not mean that you will not have fear, trepidation in doing something, but you got to move forward and you muster up the courage and the strength and alliances and moving forward so that you can accomplish that which is in you. This is going to require another one of these Globinars this year that you come back and Shanker come back maybe towards the end of the year. I want to entertain a question from the group. So if you have a question for Dr. Shilpi, please unmute yourself. And I will say that she and I are in the discussion for doing a book collab together. I'm excited for that. Um, I have to prioritize my commitment to it only because my 90 days has been taking all of my time. So once I'm done, I'll have free time to say, okay, now I'm committed to moving forward. And also for those who are in business, which you all hear, we are putting together a business anthology for Transformational Writers Academy. So if you're thinking about becoming an author, Ms. Ruby, and you're not quite ready to write an entire book, but your specialty is on international affairs, business relations, we'll have components in our anthology where you can be a contributor to that. So that might be an answer for some of you. Reach out to me on LinkedIn or Transformational Writers Academy. All right, questions. Unmute yourself if you would, and just go ahead and raise the question. Because there's so much here, I know. Okay, let me check our chat as well. Okay. Someone wants to create a. Okay. Well, I have a question for you, so it's never without one. So you shared your challenges is, in writing is being consistent. And then my other question for you would be, what reward have you experienced, and you kind of share this, as a best-selling author twice in a anthology? What rewards? Would it be the workshops, the speaking engagements? What would you say has been your personal reward in this
Uh,
process?
I think one of the thing is satisfaction, because once you know that you are a best-selling author, people recognize you differently. People, oh, you are a best-selling author. That gives you a little bit of leverage whenever you're talking, when you're speaking. But of course, like speaking, workshops, those come naturally to you, because once you're a best-selling author, not only because people like you and they want to hear from you, but when they are putting you on a platform, like an organization is putting on you on a platform, um, they want to say nice things about the speaker there. We all know that. It's not a hidden fact. I'm so sorry. My life goes on with
No
uh,
worries.
alarms. Yes, that's my book writing type.
No
So
worries.
every time when you know that you are a best-selling author, the organizations recognize that and they want
Mhm.
to put you on their platform. So I have received requests for speaking engagements because I'm a best-selling author. They want to,
Mhm.
like, even if I forget, like, I'm a best-selling author, they say, and she is a best-selling author. So that matters to them. Being a
Yes,
published author, being a best-selling author matters to them. And of course, one
absolutely.
part of it is I am amazed how people connect to me reading my story, because some people, they are spiritual, but they don't have the, kind of like a freedom to express that. And when they read my
Mhm.
chapter, they're like, okay, I have the similar thing in me. So they kind of connect
Absolutely.
there.
Absolutely. Well, we have come to the top of the hour. And as you can see, there's so much more that you can gain from being a part of Global Chamber Authors Series and the Chamber at large. And you can join us, globalchamber.org, and join as a member. And as I said, your reach is beyond whatever your small investment is. But there's a story in you, there's a collaboration in you. And we want to encourage you to engage and make 2025 the year of making this happen. Birth that beautiful thing that has been planted inside of you so that you too, as an expert in your field, can show up and your book will be your business card, is what I tell my writers. And you can follow Dr. Shilpi. She's placed her link in the chat there too. And then you can also follow us, Transformational Writers Academy. We put out a lot of content weekly and a newsletter. So if you're interested in that, on Instagram, follow us, Facebook, and Threads. We're on all of those platforms. So thank you, Terry from Utah. Thank you, Dr. Christina from the West Coast, Oregon. Thank you, Marisol. I'm not sure. Where are you from, Marisol? Aparicio.
Hello, from Mexico.
Okay. Excellent. ¿De qué parte?
Ciudad de México.
Okay, Mexico City, welcome. Follow one another. Sharon, so glad you were able to join us. I know it's a busy day for you. And for Gemma Shanker, what a delight to have you as our guest speaker and author and bringing us wonderful opportunities. Please engage, follow the magazine, sign up, contribute to it. Rhonda, we're delighted to have you here, and Gemma for making this happen. And our CEO, Doug Brunke, I think he's on. Doug, if you're on, did you want to close out? I see Global Chamber. So let me just remind you who he is. So Doug Brunke is our CEO and founder of Global Chamber. He started this organization 10 years ago this year. So we're in our 10th year anniversary, and the reach and the impact has been incredible. And so we look for like-minded business owners, CEOs, dignitaries to partner with us so that we can make our vision and our mission more apparent and relevant to each of those who are involved. Join us. You can see we are a family, and we're delighted to have each of you here. Okay, we'll see you at another Globinar and online. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Shilpi.
Thank you, Dana. It was a pleasure. Very
Thank you.
insightful evening. Thank you.
Yes, I can't wait for the next month. Okay, see you then.
See you.